Hello, thanks for joining us. My name is Jessica Bledsoe. Just to refresh anyone tuning in, I am the director of WeCareMinistries, which is a mental health ministry, a mental health nonprofit. We have a partnership at Cypress Lake United Methodist. We have a ministry called Let's Talk About It. And so part of that ministry is why I am here today with Karen, and we have a presentation for our care team. So Karen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karen Schaefer. Glad to be with you this morning. I am Director of Traditional Worship at our church and also lead the Congregational Care Team and Ministry, which is what we want to talk about today, congregational care. Jessica and I were together thinking, how is it that we can convey to our membership that we care about them in this difficult time of pandemic? So many people are feeling alone and overwhelmed with just being isolated, and we want to connect that we truly care about them. So our team has done phone calling and has connected with pretty much everyone that's on the membership list, as well as those that are constituents of our congregation. And now we're looking at a second round of calling to particularly highlighting those who may be living alone, those who do not have access to internet, so they're not watching our services on Sunday morning. They're not receiving the regular email blast from our church. And we want to just determine, are there those who would indeed benefit from either professional therapy through Jessica's We Care counseling services, or through the lay ministry, Stephen Ministers.
Exactly. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and start our little presentation here. So this is really a follow-up presentation for the group that has been making these calls like we talked about. We started making calls, I think our first meeting was at the beginning of May, and there had been individuals making calls before then from our congregation. And so this is, it's been a few months, so great job. Thank you for your time and your commitment making these calls. I know it's been a couple months to reach everyone, and there's still just a few people that we're trying to make sure we reach, but you really have spread the message that Cypress Lake cares. The first round of calls really helped convey the church's sincerity in making that effort and reaching everyone on our list. And so with this, the first call and this is really why we wanted to have a follow-up today, is that many of these first calls, we receive responses to the question, how are you? Of, we're good, we're doing fine, things are okay. And so we had the question, is this good enough? Are we okay with this response? Are we making enough of an impact? And because we want to make sure we're making the most impact, how do we get deeper? So we're in this new reality. So our current new reality is that we're still in quarantine. This is something we thought we'd be doing short term, and we're still in it. The reality is the church services are online indefinitely. Our connecting with one another is not happening in person right now. And so we are having to be creative in ways that we're connecting online. We're still in the midst of the crisis of COVID. Our emotions are heightened naturally as part of a crisis. Mental health can be at risk. And like we said, it's been 2 months since we started our calls. So what next? So for future calls, a second call from the church. This will further our message of we care about you. This can open up conversations for the congregants to voice any frustrations they feel, maybe about church not being opened yet in live worship in person. And this might be, we might have the opportunity to be more open with what we're hearing the second time around, with the reality that they are experiencing than they were before. So we had pleasantries for most of our calls the first time around. And so this second call saying, hey, we really do care about how you're doing. How are you doing? It's been a couple months now. That can be an opportunity for them to open up. And then this, of course, fuels more connection to the church, which we are being creative with how we're able to do. So as we're making these second round of calls, how do we convey the care that we have over the phone? So let's imagine sitting in a room with the person. Maybe before, when we were making the first calls, it was kind of like, okay, we have so many people to get through. Let's just get through these calls. Now let's kind of take our time. Let's imagine like we're sitting in a room with them. Let's be intentional about our posture. Is there background noise? Is there something distracting you in the room, like the TV on or another person running around? What would you like to hear if you're on the other line? What would you like a call from the church to sound like? How can you convey, I care about you, over the phone? This is a creative exercise that we have here. You can ask about family members, ask about their surroundings, ask about their connections. So just try to picture, how can you convey, like I'm sitting in a room and I'm intentional with you and my time and my presence right now. So here are some specific phrases that could help you maybe dig a little deeper, or at least be a little more open to hearing, maybe more approachable to really hearing how they're doing. So it's normal to feel anxious right now. You're not alone in feeling disappointed about the church still being, oh, and we need to edit this and not say closed, but being online, I guess we'll say. So the church is not closed. Karen, you pointed out that the church is still open. We just are not meeting together in live body form.
Right.
Your emotions are valid. Yes, church is still doing ministry. I hear you. I'm here to listen to you. The good news is that we have a God, therefore we do not have to be God. This is one that I've seen a lot with my clients, that we might feel like we should have all the answers, or we should at least know when things are going to be ending or starting, and just feel like we have control over the situation. And that's not possible. We aren't God. And the good news is we don't have to be God. That's not our role to play. That's God's role to play. And we need to live into that. God does not intend for you to be alone right now. So here are some action steps. We have talked about focusing on our friends, focusing on following up with contacts that you have a personal connection with, or people you called before, or you might have said you would follow up on. Another action step, referring individuals to Stephen Ministry or to WeCareMinistries for further care if your gut is telling you so. If the person's saying they're fine, but you just have a suspicion that they're not fine, just give us a little referral. Tell us that person and we can follow up. And then Zoom fellowship meetings. We talked about meeting socially online as a church. And so that's something that we will do. We also are going to be sending out an email, a postcard, another means other than phone call, social media. We'll put this out on there, this kind of phrase. And so we've got some feedback earlier about what are some other things we can add. But are you scared? Are you lonely? Does life feel overwhelming? Are you aching to find relief? We are here for you. Cypress Lake cares. We're doing our best to reach out to you. Please let us know if you are experiencing these feelings and could use an extra shoulder to lean on. So this is something we're also going to ask if there is an email address that we don't have, to share it with us. So this is a way that we are going to reach out to the congregation and continue our care. And Karen, was there anything else? We wanted to make sure we went through our presentation and we did a little recording, so that anyone who missed our follow-up call Zoom meeting could be a part of it.
Right, and we just want you to know, those of you that are watching this, that you are appreciated. This is a ministry. You are reaching out to people and letting them know that their church is still connected with them. This is a ministry and it's important. And it's also important to convey that no, our church is not closed. We are still supporting missionaries around the world. We're still sending food to the food pantry. We're still supporting our local and global outreach partners. We're meeting via Zoom.
Yes.
That we're doing what we can, and what you are doing is really important.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you, Karen, for being here.